Happy Friday, guys. I'm gonna hit on the recap for this morning. Pretty tricky morning. Actually, it was pretty choppy. Um, yeah, I'll just do a recap, maybe hit a little global macro. And then a reminder, guys, today is the last day to get those deep discounts on the inner circle. So I'll get into the details at the end if you've been kind of missing the updates throughout the week. Um, but yeah, so it came in this morning. The market was kind of just trapped between here and here for most of the morning. And then I'll show you where the 1 minute started to go bullish and kind of made up for my morning here in the back half of this move. Let me zoom in. Did catch the Russell. It was choppy. You had 8:30 payrolls. It was choppy, and then it started to take off, and I caught this first part of this move after the open. And then let me put S&Ps up. Oh, sorry, that was S&P in the middle, NASDAQ. So NASDAQ this morning opened up, did 100% retrace, played a little bit of an edge here that worked out. Like I said, was long Russell, that helped. And then played a little bit of both sides on S&P, but this was tricky down here because he made new lows and it chopped around. But you had two good 5 minute cycles here and here, which helped. Kind of, there was a pivot right here I'll get into also. That was pretty key for the morning. And again, this here on NASDAQ was a good spot. So I will put up the 1 minute. Come back to that. Okay, so let's see the just a second. All right, there we go. Okay, I guess I'll just lead with the NASDAQ. So when you're playing around like payrolls, I kind of heavier on the micros. So that's Russell. You can see how busy I was on the mini, the micro NASDAQ, just because you get more vol around payrolls. So I did play this long on the way up, sold into the high. I rebought here, and then when this started to break down, that's where I ended up going short S&P. Yeah, here we go. So I went long NASDAQ minis. You can see I didn't do anything with the full contract till this dip here. All right, so this cycle up, I played the minis, and then once I made a little bit of profit, I actually took S&P long also into the high. And then when I rebought my NASDAQ minis, that started to go against me right here. So I shorted S&Ps. Okay, and then I covered that. All right, and then when we dropped down here, I actually ended up getting long. And I was long the minis the same time on those lows. So I know it's a lot, but just there's a couple lessons in here. So the open is a little bit of me playing back and forth. I'm playing this cycle initially up, hedging on the way back down. You can see I was long here, and then this was all the way long. So this is a long distance to drag along, but I ended up buying more. And that's why when this started to, you can see that this is the 1 minute chart, but the direction of the 8 starts to roll over here, and that's showing you kind of the 1 minute trend breaking down. So that's when I started to hedge with S&P. All right, and then I got more long the minis, and the reason that being I can drag this all the way down. But if I had bought the NASDAQ up there, that's too far of a distance to go from there long all the way there on the full contract. All right, and then using the wall concept, the bears put in this big wall, right? Let me draw it. They put in this wall. So on the way back up halfway, that's a good spot to sell, whether you want to hedge things, whether you want to short, whether you're long and you came out. So I booked that, okay, there. And then I actually flipped and went short minis. All right, because that was going to hedge what I was long, which I think I did buy the full contract down here. Oh, let me try to show that. Okay, so I did buy, see how I didn't buy up here on the full contract? I bought down here. And then it started to pop and I got out. I think it was because I was ended up being, yeah, it was long S&P. So I scalped out of that long. And then I'm long S&P up into here. And then you can see I took profit again on that. And then I was short the minis. All right. So then I bought back long S&P again, bought S&P again. And then when we came down, this is what I mean. This morning was really a lot of back and forth. When we came back down here in the mini short, I covered that. And then that helped me get long S&P. And then there's another wall concept. This is the wall the bulls put back up, right? Or sorry, the bears started a new wall down right there. And then so about halfway of that move is where is a good spot to take long. So I came out of the long there. And that was kind of that was most of the trading before the open. All right, and I think the open's right here, 9:30. So I kind of just took a break. I think maybe I was up like only $300 or something because it was pretty choppy. And I waited for the open. And here is the 1 minute cycle, and the 5 minute cycle looks pretty similar. So on the way back up on the open, I ended up selling there, but I believe I was long NASDAQ first on the open. I think I went back to the minis. Oh, I sold that S&P also because I ended up getting long Russell. So I was a little bit long Russell into the highs, made some money. That was pretty much all I did on the Russell, was just right out of the gate there long. And then here's S&P on this side too. So that's that initial move up was kind of me shorting here. And now notice this is interesting. So I'm short from here, right? And I made money on the long side. And then I'm also long the minis at that point. So I short S&Ps here, okay? But you can see on the open, I was playing all this on the long side, long in and out, long, adding, reducing. So that whole cycle up, I was playing NASDAQ long, and I just stayed with that short because I was making money here, right? And I made money on the Russell. So you'll notice when I flip back to S&P, right in here is where this pivot changed again. And then I end up getting short minis for this move into the low. And the reason I could stay with that short through the top of the 5 minute cycle so I'm short here, the cycle starts to turn. And then right here, when you can see how it breaks the 8, the tick chart went bearish. And I was underwater on my mini long. So I sold another lot short there in S&P. And right, and then here's our first push. Actually had a little bit of it broke and had a bounce back up before it made new lows like that. So I short right here, short here. And then you can see this came a little bit back up right there. And there's a small wall on this candle that you could have sold more right there. Okay. And then you got the drop. So then I'm covering S&P. Boom. All right. And then that started this kind of long move back up. And let me get to the other. So now when we drop back down to the lows down here, you can see I was short, and then I started to flip and get long again. So I played this long, short with S&Ps, took that off, took some off up there too, some more profit. And then when this broke, I ended up getting short there. I was already short S&P. So like when I covered my S&P, I just resell a little bit of this. And then we get the drop down, I covered that, and then I start to get long. And this is all long in here. This whole move is long. All right. And then the last thing I wanted to just highlight, which was pretty key, was this point right in here. This was where the 1 minute really started. Before that was very choppy, right? But the bands start to all turn up here. You can actually see it on the algo bot pretty nicely. And this is what I'm talking about right here. So it's choppy in here, right? And then this is where I played the minis contrarian a little bit long, made some money. This was a little bit of a head fake, but by the time you cleared this and this high, you can see how all the bands are turning up, right? And so this is showing my trend also that we have coded in. So this is where I got long the full contract on the NASDAQ because it was just a little bit more clear and I had some room to get long. So I got long there and I ended up adding a little bit into this move. So here's an exit on the cycle. And it actually didn't get back in because it didn't get low enough. But this trend was up from there. So here we go. This is the long on the full contract. All right. And then I'm adding and reducing here also. And that was, you can see how I got in and out a couple times. So I added, took a quick profit, added back, took a profit, added back, took profit, and this is amount. And you can see what S&P. So here's the long on the full contract. And then this is again where I covered. And then this is a short here. It's about halfway up this move. So it's a good location for a short because it could easily just came back down. But once I had this short on, it was kind of coming against me through this move. It wasn't very much, maybe $200. So I also knew that that was a good spot to buy a NASDAQ long because that was going to help me manage my risk on this short. And then between the full contract here and then adding a couple times, that's making more money on the NASDAQ than this short that I drug back to here and my minis that I was long on the NASDAQ. So you can see I'm pretty busy, the minis. So overall, pretty consistent. We're very choppy, kind of tough morning. News event, the open, a lot of back and forth. And then this was just up the rest of the day. So you could have probably ridden it for longer. But I was happy with that considering how choppy it was. All right, guys, if you like this, if it's helpful, this is what we do on the inner circle when we're day trading together. And there's lots of little lessons that go into that. We're teaching on the model. But yeah, the discounts are still in place. So go to cycleedgecapital.com. It's going to go up several thousand after tonight at midnight. So jump in before the weekend, click here, and you guys can sign up. I'll put the links in the video in the chat as well. But I've been going through this. It's all the courses I've ever had. So the full institutional model, it's 9 hours. There's a 70-page PDF. I hit on tons of stuff, guys. I actually have this up. So there's two big parts. Part one, I talk about the origins of the model, a brief overview of the process, and kind of why the cycles work so well to help with timing. Talk about the physics, energy flow, dynamic systems, the fractal patterns, why we have a multi-durational process. You get into the execution, the setups, the analysis, how to correctly view the trend, and then how to correctly view the cycles, and then how to work the positions around those cycles, the risk side of it. I get into my trading plan. I teach you a little bit on journaling, coaching. There's some trading lessons and trading goals. So that's just a brief inside look at everything you get. So pretty cool. That's worth $4,000 just alone on that. Then I have my options course, talk about the basics of options, advanced strategies, Forex. I do an in-depth on the history of the Forex markets. Forex is the biggest market. Then you have the treasury market, which I traded for 15 years. Those are the two big, deep markets. But that's important to know. Their dollar affects pretty much everything. Commodities, obviously what happens with equities. And then the pi cycle, probably the best edge I've discovered in my career. And then both of the trading services, those are usually $100 a month. $30 a month, $100 a month. I throw that in there. So all the courses, and then the coaching, my time together, and then individual mentorship sessions. I still have some room on the calendar, so that's a huge value. It's basically 15 grand of value, guys. And then I have a link for the futures program. They're running deep discounts at Top Step to help you get some extra capital, especially for day trading futures. The algo service is new. I kind of touched on that. It's nice to be able to run that alongside, and then we're doing that with the core trading as well. The Cycle Edge Pro, I mean, I counted everything we did the last couple of weeks. It went for like 14 for 17 on. This is just a Cycle Edge Pro, guys, is worth the discount of the inner circle. I mean, here we were long NASDAQ, buying it back, covering some euro. I mean, just a couple of these trades pays for the year and the coaching program, really. Covering Russell earlier in the week, that was a great trade. What are we doing on this one? This is covering copper. We've been playing out the short side all year. I had a huge trade from $4. It was like a $10,000 trade. This is covering more euro. That's covering silver one morning. So this is kind of all day, every day. Tens, covering some tens that we were short. Been playing short 10 years, short 30s, long twos. That's a bull steepener that we're working into. Out of the money on gold, but managing that pretty nicely considering that's been down for weeks. Swiss came out of long. Anyway, you guys get the point. Here's what we're doing this afternoon, a little bit on the euro and the pound. So anyways, guys, have a great weekend. Again, everything's discounted 90%, $750. I jump on that. And I'll talk to some of you Sunday night. And I'll leave a link to the Discord also if you got any questions. You can hit me up there. Have a great weekend.